Welcome back to Death of a Sales Manager. This is part 2, and I'm your host, Jesse, diving deep into the underbelly of the automotive industry. If you thought part 1 was a wake-up call, buckle up, because today we're tearing the lid off bad sales manager behavior, exposing the traits of toxic leadership, and shining a spotlight on how these managers treat their teams. We're also calling out the company owners who let this nonsense slide and breaking down just how much value salespeople bring to the table. Value that bad managers often squander. Plus, we'll share real stories from dealership trenches. Most importantly, talk about how to turn these bad managers around. So let's get to it. Let's start with the million-dollar question. What makes a sales manager in the automotive industry bad? Look, being a sales manager isn't easy. You're juggling targets, customer complaints, inventory, and a team of salespeople who are often high energy, high ego personalities. But there's a difference between a manager who's struggling and one who's straight up toxic. Bad sales managers don't just fail to hit targets. They drag everyone else down with them. They're the ones who create a culture of fear, mistrust, and burnout. In the automotive world, where every sale counts and margins are tight, a bad manager isn't just a nuisance. They're the business killer. So let's break it down. Here are some defining behaviors of bad sales managers in car dealerships based on what I've personally seen, heard, and researched. Number 1, micromanagement madness. Bad managers hover like vultures. They're breathing down your neck, questioning every move, and second-guessing every pitch you make to a customer. Instead of coaching you to close a deal, they'll swoop in and take over, leaving you feeling useless. One salesperson, a story I heard of, posted about their manager who would interrupt client conversations to show them how it's done, only to lose the sale because they came off as pushy. Micromanagers don't trust their team, and their lack of trust kills the morale. Number 2, playing favorites. Ever worked in a dealership where one of 2 salespeople get all the perks, the best leads, the prime desk spots, the manager's ear? That's a hallmark of bad managers. They play favorites, rewarding loyalty or personal connections over performance. This creates resentment and destroys team unity. I heard a story about a manager who gave the hot leads to his buddy while everyone else fought for scraps. That's not leadership, that's cronyism. Number 3, zero accountability. Bad managers are masters at dodging responsibility. Miss the monthly quota? It's the team's fault, right? Customer complaint? Salesperson's at fault. Inventory issues? Point the finger at the finance guy. I mean, who else can you blame? Come on. These managers never own their mistakes, but they're quick to throw their team under the bus. This behavior trickles down. It creates a culture where everyone's looking out for themselves instead of working as a unit. Number 4, screaming and intimidation. The auto industry has a reputation for high-pressure environments, but bad managers take it to another level. They yell, belittle, and use fear as a motivator. I heard another story about a manager who would publicly humiliate salespeople in the morning meetings, calling out their numbers in front of everyone and mocking their performance. Even though everyone was laughing, the salesperson was not having a good time and felt like an idiot. That's not motivation. That's more like abuse. Number 5, no training or support. A good sales manager invests in their team, training them on new techniques, helping them navigate tough customers, or teaching them how to upsell without being sleazy. Bad managers, they throw you to the wolves, expect you to figure it out. No training, no feedback, no support. If you fail, they just replace you. It's a revolving door, and they don't care. These behaviors aren't just annoying. They're toxic. They create this environment where salespeople hate coming to work. The customers, they pick up on the bad vibes and they'll turn around and just bounce. Peace. But it's not just about the behavior. So let's talk about the deeper issue, the characteristics of bad leadership. Bad leadership isn't just about what you do. It's about who you are as a leader or someone who's in a leadership role. In the automotive industry, where the stakes are high, pressure is relentless, these traits stand out like a bad paint job on a used car. 1, ego over everything. Bad leaders are obsessed with their own image. They want the glory, the corner office, the title. They see their team as a means to an end and not as partners in success. I read this story about a salesperson who said their manager would take credit for every big sale, even when they had barely contributed to the deal. Ego-driven leaders don't lift others up. They push them down to make themselves look taller. Number 2, a lack of empathy. Sales, it's emotional. You're dealing with customers making big financial decisions, and your team is grinding through long hours and rejection after rejection after rejection. A good leader gets that. A bad one doesn't care. Just says, we'll just replace these guys. Come on. They don't ask how you're doing. They don't notice when you're burnt out, and they sure as hell don't care about your personal life. No empathy means no connection, and no connection means no loyalty. Number 3, the inconsistency. One day they're your best friend, the next they're chewing you out over a minor mistake. Bad leaders are so unpredictable, and that inconsistency creates all the chaos that you have on these dealership floors. Salespeople need stability to perform, clear expectation, and fair rules. When the goalposts keep moving, you're set up to fail. Number 4, short-term thinking. Bad managers are obsessed with this month's numbers, even if it means burning bridges with the customers or their team. They'll push shady tactics to close a deal, like pressuring customers into add-ons that they don't need or forcing salespeople to work unpaid overtime. Long-term success is like building a customer loyalty or retaining top talent. It doesn't cross their mind. Number 5, poor communication. Ever had a manager who never tells you what's going on? No updates on inventory, no clarity on commissions, no explanation for why the dealership strategy changed overnight? Jeez. Bad leaders keep their team in the dark, either because they don't know how to communicate or because they think information is power. Either way, it's a recipe for disaster. So these characteristics aren't just flaws, they're deal breakers. A manager with these traits isn't just bad at their job, they're actively harming the dealership. And the worst part, their behavior doesn't just affect the sales floor, it impacts how they treat the employees. So let's dive into that next. If you've ever worked under a bad sales manager, you know it's not just about the job, it's personal. The way they treat you can make or break your career, your confidence, and even your mental health. Gosh dang. Here's how bad managers in the automotive industry treat their teams, based on stories I've heard. Number 1, public shaming. We touched on this earlier, but it's worth repeating. Bad managers love to call their team out in front of everyone. Missed a sale? They'll announce it in the morning huddle. Struggling with a customer? They'll mock you in the break room. They'll never let it down. This isn't accountability. That's humiliation, and it kills trust. Number 2, unrealistic expectations. Bad managers set impossible targets without giving you the tools to succeed. They'll demand you sell 20 cars a month, but won't provide you enough leads, inventory, or proper sales training. Or they'll expect you to work 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week with no support. A salesperson that I know of, he shared a story about a manager that all he did was demand and would scream, make it happen, with no training on the new vehicles or let them know what the inventory, as far as new trade-ins, the condition, you name it, they held it. Number 3, gaslighting. Ever been told you're the problem when you know it's not true? Bad managers are pros at gaslighting. They'll tell you the customer walked because of your attitude, not because they pushed a bad deal. Or they'll claim you misunderstood the commission structure when they deliberately misled you. It's a power play, and it leaves employees questioning their own reality. Number 4, neglecting top performers. You'd think a bad manager would at least take care of their top salespeople, right? Wrong. They often ignore their best performers, taking them for granted while focusing on micromanaging all the green peas or the salespeople that are struggling. This burns out your top talent. And before you know it, they're jumping ship to a competitor. Retaliation. Speak up about a problem. Bad managers don't take criticism well. They'll retaliate by cutting your leads, giving you the worst shifts, or even firing you. Heard another story about a salesperson that questioned their manager's unethical tactics and was promptly reassigned to cold calling duties for a month. Come on. Look, this kind of treatment isn't just bad management. It's abuse. It creates a toxic workplace where salespeople are stressed, disengaged, and constantly looking for the exit. But before we move on, let's talk about the red flags you should watch for if you're a salesperson or a company owner trying to spot a bad manager before it's too late. Red flags are your early warning system. If you're a salesperson, these are the signs you're working for a bad manager. If you're an owner, these are the signals you need to act on now. High turnover. If your dealership has a revolving door of salespeople, it's not just the industry, it's the manager. Good salespeople don't leave good environments. I heard a story from a guy that used to sell cars. He said that he quit after 3 months because the manager's constant yelling made it unbearable. High turnover is a freaking neon sign that something's wrong. Customer complaints about the sales process. If customers are complaining about feeling pressured or misled, look at the manager. They're the ones setting the tone. Are they pushing aggressive tactics? Are they overriding salespeople to close deals in a way that feels slimy? That's a red flag. Low team morale. Walk onto the sales floor. Are people laughing, collaborating, and energized? Or are they quiet, tense, or even avoiding the sales managers completely? Low morale is a symptom of bad leadership. How about lack of transparency. If the manager is cagey about commissions, quotas, or dealership goals, that's the problem. Good leaders are open about expectations and reward. Bad ones hide the ball to keep control. How about no investment in training? If your manager hasn't offered a single training session, a workshop, or any coaching moments in months, that's a red flag. They're either too lazy or too arrogant to help their team grow. These red flags are your cue to act, whether it's confronting the manager or going to the owner, or if you are the owner, stepping in to fix the problem. But speaking of owners, let's talk about the role they play in enabling this behavior. All right, dealership owners, this one's for you. If you've got a bad sales manager running your showroom, you're not off the hook. You're part of the problem. I know you're busy. Running a dealership is no joke, but turning a blind eye to toxic management is costing you cash, talent, and clients. Here's the deal. Bad managers don't just appear out of nowhere. They thrive because someone let them. Maybe you hired them because they had a shiny resume or a track record of hitting numbers. Maybe you keep them because they deliver short-term results. Even if they're burning out your team, or maybe you're just not paying attention. But whatever the reason, here's why you need to step up. Number one, you're losing money. Bad managers drive away good salespeople, and good salespeople are your revenue engine. The average cost of replacing a salesperson is thousands of dollars, not to mention the lost sales while you're training someone new. Plus, bad managers create bad customer experiences, which means fewer repeat buyers and negative online reviews. Number two, you're hurting your reputation. In the age of social media and online platforms, a toxic manager doesn't just ruin your dealership's culture, they ruin your brand. I saw a post on X where a customer said they'd never buy from a certain dealership again because the manager was rude and pushy. That's your business taking a hit. Number three, you're enabling toxicity. When you ignore complaints or fail to hold managers accountable, you're sending a message this behavior is okay. That's not just bad for your team, it's bad for your conscience. You're the one with the power to change the culture, so use it. Okay, owners, here's your wake-up call. Do your due diligence. Talk to your salespeople. Check in on the sales floor. Look at your turnover rates and customer reviews. If you see red flags, don't wait for things to magically get better. Fire the bad manager, retrain them, or restructure your leadership. Your business depends on it. Let's talk about the value of salespeople versus the bad managers. Now let's talk about the real MVPs of the automotive industry, the salespeople. These are the folks on the front lines, shaking hands, kissing babies, building trust, closing deals, right? They're the ones who turn a curious walk-in into a happy customer driving off the lot. But bad managers, they're like the anchors dragging down the ship. So here's a breakdown of the value salespeople bring compared to the damage that bad managers do. Number one, salespeople build relationships. A good salesperson doesn't just sell a car. They're creating a customer for life. They listen, they empathize, they follow up. Studies show that repeat customers and referrals account for a huge chunk of dealership revenue, sometimes upwards of 40%. Bad managers, on the other hand, push short-term, high-pressure sales that scare clients away. Number two, salespeople drive revenue. The math is simple. No salespeople, no sales. A top-performing salesperson can move 15, 20, and upwards vehicles a month. They're generating hundreds of thousands in revenue. A bad manager might hit their quota by squeezing the team, but they're burning out talent and losing long-term gains. Number three, salespeople are the face of your brand. When a customer walks into your dealership, they don't interact with the owner or the manager. They interact with the salesperson. A good salesperson makes your dealership look professional, trustworthy, and customer-focused. A bad manager undermines that by creating a stressed-out, disengaged team. Salespeople adapt and innovate. Point number four. So the best salespeople are problem solvers. They figure out how to close tough deals, navigate objections, and adapt to changing customer needs. Bad managers stifle that. They're enforcing rigid, outdated tactics or trying to micromanage every single step. The bottom line, salespeople are the heart of your dealership. Bad managers attack the heart. If you're an owner, invest in your salespeople. Invest in training them, supporting them, and get rid of the managers who are holding them back. Okay, so I'm going to share some stories with one or two stories with you from salespeople that were in the car business and left because they just couldn't work with their sales managers anymore. So I know of this one sales guy in Texas. He said his manager would scream at the team during their morning meetings. And one day a new hire missed the sale, Green P missed the sale because the customer backed out over the financing. Instead of Instead of coaching, the manager berated him in front of everybody, saying, if you can't close, you don't belong here. The Green Peak quit within a week after that, and the dealership lost a potential star. It's a shame, because every person that enters into a retail realm has, number one, if they had the desire, the interest to do it, there's a possibility that they could have turned into, an absolute gangster when it comes to selling cars. But they ran into a challenge, or they had someone that diminished them, and they just decided it wasn't for them. So here's another story about a salesperson that he described his manager saying that the guy hoarded all the quality leads for himself and his favorite team members. Everyone else was stuck cold calling or dealing with low intent walk-ins. The result: half the team quit within 6 months, and the dealership sales tanked. Look, these stories aren't just anecdotes; they're warning signs. Bad managers don't just hurt their teams; they hurt the entire business. But it's not all doom and gloom. So let's talk about how to turn these bad managers around, or at least mitigate the damage. Okay, so we've exposed the problem. Now let's talk solutions. Can a bad sales manager be fixed? Sometimes, yes, but it takes effort, accountability, and a willingness to change on their part. Here's some strategies for you owners, you salespeople, and even some of you managers to turn things around. Number one, invest in leadership training. So bad managers often don't know any better. They're promoted because they were good salespeople, not because they're natural leaders. Send them to leadership training. Send them to some workshops or seminars, or even take online courses focused on, and emotional intelligence, some training on communication and obviously some team building activities. Programs like those from the NADA these can be a game changer. Number two, set clear expectations. Owners, sit down with your managers and lay out what you expect. Fair treatment, transparency, and focus on long-term success. Building teams that'll last. Tie their bonuses to team retention, skill development, and customer satisfaction, not just sales numbers. That shifts their incentives away from short-term wins. Number three, encourage feedback. Create a safe way for salespeople to give feedback about their manager, anonymously if needed. But use surveys or one-on-one meetings to get a pulse on the team's morale. If you hear consistent complaints, you got to act on them. Number four, mentor, don't micromanage. For managers listening, stop trying to control everything. Your job is to mentor your team, not do their job for them. Offer some guidance. Share your experiences when you were in the automotive industry or when you were selling cars. Share those experiences, your wins, your losses, and allow them to grow. A good rule of thumb: spend 80% of your time coaching and 20% handling crises. Number five, hold managers accountable. Owners, if a manager isn't improving, don't wait. Set a timeline for change. Say 60 days, maybe even 90 days, and monitor their progress. Check your metrics. If they can't or won't adapt, it's time to let them go. Your team and your customers deserve better. Here's number six, empower your salespeople. This was probably my favorite. But sometimes the best way to counter a bad manager is to empower the team. Offer salespeople direct access to the training, to resources, or even higher up they can go to with concerns. This reduces the manager's ability to control everything and gives the team a lifeline. Okay, so turning a bad manager around isn't easy, but it's possible. It starts with recognizing the problem, committing to change, and putting the right systems in place. If all else fails, sometimes the best move is to show them the door and bring in someone who can lead. All right, so let's get to wrapping up. We've covered a lot today, guys. So bad sales managers in the automotive industry are a real problem. They micromanage, they play favorites, they dodge accountability, and create toxic workplaces. Their leadership flaws like ego and lack of empathy hurt their teams and your bottom line. The way they treat salespeople through shaming, gaslighting, neglect, it's unacceptable. And owners, you've got to step up and stop enabling this behavior. But here's the good news. Salespeople are the lifeblood of your dealership. They bring in the revenue, build relationships, and keep customers coming back. Protect them, invest in them. And if you've got a bad manager, don't wait, fix it or replace them. So finally, to the salespeople out there grinding it every day, you're the real heroes. If you're stuck under a bad manager, speak up, document everything, and don't be afraid to look for a better environment. You deserve a leader who lifts you up, not one who drags you down or beats you like a rented mule. Come on. All right. So guys, thanks for tuning in to Death of the Sales Manager. And if you've got a story about a bad manager or a tip for turning things around, hit me up. You can email us at deathofasalesmanager@gmail.com. Back with part 3, we're going to be diving into how to build a winning sales team from the ground up. But until then, keep closing deals and keep your head up. This is Jesse signing off. Drive safe, sell smart, and don't let a bad manager kill your vibe. Peace.